G'day again, and welcome back again to Dad vs. Son and Illusions of Glory by GMT. And we're about to start Turn 10, which is the fall or autumn of 1916. As you can see, not much is happening up here in the northern front. We've had to really concentrate more down here towards the eastern and southeastern fronts, and also into the Italian front due to the mandatory attacks and so forth that have gone ahead. The Turks have built up to their full manning now and are ready to bust out of Turkey and do some damage as soon as Bulgaria shows up for the Central Powers. Romania is now on for the Allies, and I need to consolidate them so Bulgaria doesn't just push through and give them a really hard time. The Italians have had a few hits down in their front, and I've gotten a couple of allied units in there now to try and bolster them, but we really need to start getting some replacement points for the Italians so they can get some of these core units back and still put a lot of pressure on these Austro-Hungarian units here. The Germans are starting to filter forces down into this area as well, to bolster the Austro-Hungarians, and that's played a bit of a game here with the Russians having to again try and get troops down to try and stop that. The Russians have still got quite a few troops up in this area here around Kiev, Minsk, Vilna to reinforce, but again, even they are starting to need some sufficient ops points and time to get those forces forward to start to block the Germans, because I have a sneaking suspicion that the Germans may try to sneak up here around here to Riga, and I need to get some forces up to stop that happening and to try and cut them off at the knees. So that's where we are at the moment. So back to the Allies, and here we go. And we have an A and a B. So we have Italian reinforcements, but that can't be played until the summer of 17, which is still sort of another 4 turns away. Or we have the Turkish desertions. And I think what I'm going to do is, as much as I don't really want to play that still at the moment, I'd really like to hit them with that just as they're about to bring Bulgaria on and do that sort of thing. It means I've got to look at either replacement points or ops points. Now, if I use the Italian reinforcement card, that'll give me 2 ops points, but only 1 Russian replacement. If I use the Turkish desertions, though, I'm going to lose that card, but that gives me 1 Allied, 1 Italian, and 2 Russian, which again isn't all that fantastic. So what to do? What do I need to do? Now, I could come back through and try and do some damage down here and start to push the Austro-Hungarians right out of Serbia, which would be handy. And I could do a two-pronged attack to do that, but that would cost me either 2 ops points to use these units, or 3 ops points to bring in 16 core as well. And we have to do an Italian one this turn. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Italian reinforcements card for its 2 ops value. And I am going to do an attack from, sorry, where are we? Talmezzo into Caporetto, I think it is, Caporetto. Now they've got a trench there, which means that they're going to be able to hit us first. So that's 1. I could use these units as well, but there's quite a few Austria-Hungarian points here. There's still 7 points of them here as well, so I don't want to push my luck too much. Okay, so the other thing I'm going to do then is look at moving some of these units. And I think what we'll do is we'll leave the mountain unit there, and I'm going to bring forward 7 core to bolster Gorizia against Trieste, and then we're going to put this attack in here. So like I said, they have a trench, so they get to do their damage first. So let's have a look here. But they only have small units, so they will be on the light fire table, I believe, because they're not in a fort or anything else. So they have 4 points on the light fire table. They have 1 combat card, but they can't use it because it's for German LCUs. So they've rolled a 1. They can do 1 damage to us, and we cannot take 1 damage, so nothing happens. Now we're coming in with 1, 3, 6, 9 points. We're coming into a mountainous region though, so we get a shift to the left. We have no combat card to help. I don't think... sorry. I'll just go back there. So they had 4, but they get a shift to the right for the trench as well, which I forgot, which is still only, with rolling a 1, is 1 damage, so no, made no difference. Okay, so we've got our left shift for the trench, and we also have a left shift for the mountains. So we're down to 5. And that's a 3, which gives us 3 damage to them. So they'll take 1 damage on this SCU, 2 damage on this SCU, and then 3 damage which reduces their final SCU in there. Okay, so they have to retreat 2 spaces, or they have to take a step loss. If they take the step loss, there'll be nobody there, but we still can't go into there. Does that really matter? And the answer would be no. If they take the step loss, then they can also keep this unit for the time being. So they're going to go across the mountain trails for 1 and over the mountain trails to Spittal and join up with this unit here. The trench goes away and I can move as many troops into here as I wish, and I'm going to move 1 into there. And I'm going to leave that there just in case they decide to come across. So that gives the Italians control of Caporetto. And I haven't marked the Italians as having control of Greiza yet. Righto, so that was pretty damn good, and as usual in my old man stupidity, I forgot to reset the action markers first. So the first allied action was for ops points anyway. So I didn't stuff up more than usual. See, consistency. That's what gaming is all about. As long as you stuff up consistently, you screw everybody and not just one side. Okay, so we're over to the CP player for his first action now. And he gets an AB, which is their German reinforcements or Army of the Bug. And I think what they're going to do is... They're going to take the Army of the Bug because this is a German reinforcement event and these reinforcements are exempt from the troop quality rule. So let's grab some troops for them. So they get the German Guards unit. They also get the 10th and the 41st Reserve Infantry Corps. So there's the 10th and there's the 41st Infantry Corps, and they get the last of their heavy artillery, and it can be placed on any CP controlled Austria-Hungarian German supply source in Austria-Hungary. Righto. So they have German reinforcements. There we go. Now where do they want to put them? And again, this is a fairly hefty sort of lot of people. And I think what they're going to do is stick them all straight into Budapest. And because the artillery doesn't count towards the stacking limit there. And they're done. And we're back to the Allies. Righto. And the Allies have a CDE. The C is the Arab Revolt, which is -1 victory point unless the CP player immediately removes 1 Turkish LCU from the map board and puts it in the replaceable units box. Or they have the Russian reinforcements, which are exempt again, but when can it cannot be played until spring 16, and so we can play it now. That means that we have to remove the Russian Guards infantry corps, though, which would then leave them open to come straight down into Belgrade. But it'd give me the 1st and 2nd Guards, the 5th Cork, and the Russian 5th, 7th and Guards cavalry corps. But the closest I could put them realistically would be around Rostov, Kharkov sort of area, which is too far away at the moment. So, Buga. Or I have the Somme, where they have to remove a German unit or lose a VP. Now I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to play the Somme, but I'm going to play it for its replacement points. And that's going to give me 2 Allied replacement points, 2 Italian replacement points, and 3 Russian replacement points. And that can come back to play another day. Okie doke. Second action for CP is a C. Bulgaria. And I think that's what they will do. So again, I'll pause it there, get all this out and done, and then come back and show you what the outcome was. Righto, back again. So, as we said, I've played the Bulgarians as a neutral entry as the second action point for the Central Powers. So, the Central Powers got 2 war status points, taking the combined war status now up to 33 of 40. So it's starting to get a little bit more horrible. Well, good if we get an armistice. The Austro-Hungarian national will has gone up by 1 to 9. The Bulgarian troops have been put out. They received 2 VPs for the VP spaces in Bulgaria, which is Sofia and Burgas. And I'll run you through the troop-wise. So Bulgaria came in and they got the 1st Army and a Cavalry SCU at Vidin, the 2nd Army at Sofia, the 3rd Army at Ruschuk, I don't know, sorry. They got an SCU at Xanthi, an infantry SCU at Strumica, another one at Varna, and another one at Plevna, which was up here. They also got the combined Austro-Hungarian-Bulgarian unit, where they could put that into any space in Bulgaria. And my first thought was to put it into Plevna, in the fort, and help there. But then I decided this is the only break we have now in the Bulgarian frontier, which is a forested space and basically a river crossing. So I chucked it there instead, because it's only got a single Romanian SCU against it. On top of that, the Germans got the 62nd German Commando LCU, which was supposed to go into Novosaid here, but because this is Russian held, it had to go to the closest, Novosaid here, closest supplied area of the Central Powers. So I've put it in here to Osijek. They also got the 61st Commando, which was supposed to go to Temesvar, and again that was no good, so it had to go to the closest, which was Arad, which it couldn't go because that would be overstacked. So it had to go to 2 spaces out, which meant Drubshin, which didn't really make too much sense, Keskamet, which didn't make as much sense. So I've placed it over here in Pex, along with the 13 Corps. They were supposed to get the German Alpine Corps, but they're already out, so it didn't matter. Alpine Corps. And the British units were already on the board, so they just got their 5 SCUs. And the French units, again, were already on the board, so they got their 5 SCUs. And that's it. So other than reinforcements now, everybody is on the board. And it's getting messy. Okay, so we're back to the third action for the Allies now. And they have an A or a B. And the A is Bulgarian Army Breaks. This is a combat card. If the CP defense includes a Bulgarian or a German-Bulgarian LCU, the Allied player rolls for offensive fire first, and the defending unit's combat strength is reduced before the CP player rolls, and it also gets rid of trench effects. So that would be very handy. Or we can take Turkish desertions. Yay! And we're going to do Turkish desertions. So reduce all of Turkey's LCUs by 1 step. So we're doing an event, and 1 corps is reduced, 3 corps is reduced, take Falkenberg off, and 2nd corps, 4 corps, and 15 corps are also all reduced. So that's 5 replacement points they need straight up. Okay, back to the Central Powers, and they have a C, D, E. So their C card is Von Bojna, which is a combat card. Any AP attack against a space or stack containing an Austria-Hungarian LCU receives a -1 modifier. Or they've got Enver Falkenum Summit, which gives them another war status point. If Bulgaria has entered the war, place the Bulgarian 4th Army on any CP-controlled Bulgarian space and strategically move 1 Turkish LCU to any space in Austria-Hungary at no ops cost. Or if interrupted SR route can be if an uninterrupted route can be traced. So they could trace up through Bulgaria and then up through Sarajevo into anywhere up here. So that would give the Bulgarians their last army. Or their last card is their Von Francois, which can be used for ops points or replacements. Okay, so it comes down to how aggressive at the moment do the Central Powers want to be. They have to do a German mandatory offensive during this turn at some time, and they have lots of units that can do that. And we have some very isolated Russian units which they could quite easily gang up on. do need replacement points as well. Damn it, Janet. Okay, so let's hold off on the Enver Falkenhayn card to start with, which gives us a 2 ops or a 3 ops. From Francois, it cannot be used as a combat card, so we're going to use him for his ops value. Okay, so they have 3 ops and they have to do a German attack. So I think they want to position themselves first. So the first thing they are going to do is look at moving those units and that unit. That's 2. They can do 1 more thing. Okay. Just having a look-see here. So they're going to do that and they're going to put... Ooh. No, they're not going to do that. They're going to move some of these units. Okay. So the first thing they're going to do is move the 62nd Commando. It can move 3. So they're going to go 1, 2, 3 and help to block off this guards unit. The second thing they're going to do is move the other commando unit. No, they're going to leave the commando unit. They're going to move 13 Corps. 1 to there. And now we have a line stopping this. And then we have... Oops, sorry, couldn't do that either, can I? Can't do that one because it costs 2. I keep forgetting. Sorry. Okay, so they've got 1 more thing they can do. 1 more ops point they can use. Okay, so we're going to look at the stack in Budapest. And we've got 2 reserve corps and a guards corps unit. Excuse me. So I'm going to move the guards corps unit 1, 2, 3 up into the mountains in Ungvar. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. I'm going to leave the 51st where it is at the moment. Or am I? No, the 51st is going to move to Széchenyi. And that helps to block anything through here, because these units could still try and punch through. But Budapest is now protected. These units can move 4 each. So I'm going to bring them down 1, 2, 3, 4 to Valjevo, and now they're positioned to put a attack into 12 core. And if once that's done, I can move these into here, and we could have a 3-pronged attack, and then move on to Belgrade, where we could have again a 2-pronged attack. So that's my cunning plan for them. Righto, 4th action for the Allies, and we have an event. Bum bum bum. And the only events we have is the Russian reinforcements, which I do not want to play with at the moment because this Guards Corps will be removed. Or we have the Arab Revolt. If we don't use the Arab Revolt for its, then we have to use the Russian reinforcements card for its ops value. So we'll do the Arab Revolt. Lawrence of Arabia is out and about, causing trouble. So Arab Revolt, -1 VP unless the CP player immediately removes 1 Turkish LCU and puts it into the replaceables. Okay, so we have an event. So do the Turks want to remove one of these and put it into the replaceables? And realistically, I don't think the victory point is going to make that much of a difference. So they'll take the loss of a victory point, and victory point is now down to 11. So it's still, you know, it's 4 towards the Allies' side, but it's a lot better than losing a potential unit at the moment, which is then going to cost them three replacement points to get back. Righto, time for the T'others. And they have a CDE. So they have their Masurian Lakes combat card, their Von Boja combat card, or their Enver Falkenhayn. Okay. Now what I'm thinking is I'm going to use the Masurian Lakes for its ops value. And the reason for that is that I want to start moving the Mackinson headquarters because he can activate a stack as 1 nationality. So he can move 4, and he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 to the 51st, and then he can either come down to this stack here or this stack here, where we have combined troops. So that's 1. They have 2 more actions they can take. And they are going to 2 more ops points they can use, I should say. And they're going to try and take out the Russian 12 Corps. Now, we only have a river to the south, so they don't have to worry about that because they have straight across. Do they want to do it as a flank attack? Bum, ba, 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 bum, ba, bum, ba, bum, bum, bum. They're not doing all their attacks across water, so they could do a flank attack. But do they want to take the chance? And I think the answer is no, they don't particularly want to take the chance at the moment. It could pay off, but if not, that means that 12 Corps is going to get its licks in first. Okay, so let's bring the chart over again. For your viewing pleasure. Okay, so the Russians have 3, the Germans have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What else is I looking at? Okay, not every unit is going across a road, but so I don't know if that counts. If units are using, well, not all the units are, so I'm going to take that as no, they don't have to worry about it. So we have nothing. Okay, combat card wise, we have nothing for the Allies. And we have nothing for the others. Okay, so we're up to 3 against 9. And the Allies get a 4, and the Centrals get a 3. So they're going to do 4 damage, and we're going to do 3 damage. Okay. So 4 damage on 12 Corps is 2, 4, and it ain't no more. And we lose a Russian troop quality. We get an SCU in place in Novosad. And they get 3 damage, which they will take on they'll take on the reserve, 10th reserve. And then we have to retreat 1, which puts this poor little Russian SCU right up in here in the middle of all these nasty Germans and Bulgarians. And that means 13 Corps can advance into Novi Sad and take it back. So that was a good turnout for them. And that was also their mandatory offensive covered. Righto. I'll just do a quick check of the time again. And we're at 38 minutes. So we'll call it quits there, and then again we'll come back with the 5th and 6th actions for both sides. So the Germans are starting to push the Russians back in southern Austria-Hungary and start to move back into Serbia in support of the Austro-Hungarians down here against the Allies. They have a strong, relatively strong outpost area, frontier, except for this hole right here in Filipopoli, which they need to fill. Just in case we sneak a little unit straight through there to Burgas and take that. We still have the Black Sea Marines up here who can still do an amphibious assault. So that would be handy. they may get wiped out fairly fast, but if we can push through some of these other units to help them, that'd be great. We've really got to get these other Russian troops forward. That's the thing. And we need to re-establish. It would be nice to re-establish a full Russian territorial front here. But that would take 1, 2, 3. We'd have to fill out at least these 3 to do that, which means we'd need lots of units to do it. So at the moment we're holding with minimal units, but some of them are going to come under some pretty hefty attack at the moment. So there we go. As interesting as watching paint dry or betting on snail races. So hope you've had a bit of fun. I hope you've noticed all my stuff ups. And if you have, let me know. If you haven't, then yay, I got away with it. So take care, fun gaming, and bye for now.